Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game SO. Today we're going to do a retrospective on the Neo Geo now that it's hit its 35th anniversary, making me feel old but having fun all the same. Today we're looking at a modern game released by Full Set. This is Project Neon, and the developers are happy enough to send me over a review beta copy to take a look at so I can explain to you the new developments in Neo Geo, because even for a console that's 35 years old, we keep getting awesome new games for it, and we absolutely love that. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, got a Patreon link down below as well. And what is an arcade board like the Neo Geo without a ton of good shmups on it? And obviously Project Neon is hitting that mark, and if you can't tell already, this is a tate or vertical orientation game, which the Neo Geo really didn't get many of whatsoever. Games that were developed for a tate screen back in the day usually had filler on the left and right and would still run on a horizontal monitor. But Project Neon will do 100% full tate if you want to turn your TV to the side, or in my instance, use the RetroShrink 4K to do the rotate mode. And if you can't tell already, this game is definitely hewing towards the bullet hell shmup aspect of the genre, and that is definitely one that I absolutely love. And I love that these power-ups here, if you sit inside of them just long enough, it seems like just like Choren Sha 68K on the X68000, you should be able to collect them all, but I didn't have the touch today. And just so you know, this is one of my first playthroughs of the game. I wanted to go in blind and really do a first impressions about just how well this game is shaping up. Now I do want you to be aware that I am playing a beta of this, so it is definitely going to be slightly less developed than what you're going to receive if you order a copy. But what I'm seeing here so far is absolutely a ton of fun with some great graphics and mechanics, so I'm sure the finished version is going to be even that much better. And it's one of those things, if you love shmups, you always love getting new shmups, especially on retro hardware, and the Neo Geo community absolutely loves continuing to support the hardware well beyond the time that SNK stopped selling it. It is really wild to think that it has been 35 years since the first Neo Geo game and board showed up on the market. I was alive, I don't remember that actual year, I wasn't quite old enough yet to start forming memories, but a couple years later I saw a Neo Geo in arcades, fell in love, and I've been playing and collecting for it ever since. And Project Neon at its core is just a shmup, which is to say, if you've played one, you understand 100% exactly what's being asked of you. Shoot the bad guys in front of you, try not to get hit, rinse and repeat, but in the best way possible. And I really do love the overall setting of this game, especially when we get to the bosses, the animal nature of each and every one of them. It's basically animals crossed with robots, giving me some slight Darius vibes going on there, which is always something good if you're reminded of that iconic series. And I will say I appreciate the fact that this game does not hold your hand whatsoever. I am playing on normal difficulty, and it is definitely giving me a run for my money, but it's the type of thing, I love this genre, and I definitely want to sit down and try to get better and better at this game until I can get a 1cc of it. Might take a few weeks, might take a few months, but it's the type of thing, you get so much longevity out of releases like this because you really get to just kind of hammer down and try to do your best at actually learning the game. And remember, I say this in every single bullet hell shmup video, you don't need to be good to have fun. Stick with it, learn the patterns, learn what the game's mechanics are, and I promise you, you're definitely going to improve. And I do love the bullet patterns here as well as the colors they've chosen. Full Set did a really good job of making sure that each and every projectile is very easily identifiable on screen, because if you get hit, you want to know it's because you made a mistake and not because the bullet blended into the background. That's the number one thing that'll drive me nuts very quickly in shmups, is if I feel like I couldn't actually visually track the bullet coming towards me and I got hit when I didn't know it was there. That is not a problem any way, shape, or form in Project Neon. Everything is instantaneously readable, and that's down to the overall color profile and colorways they chose for the graphics. I will say I absolutely love them. I understand these sort of pastel neons aren't for everybody, but trust me, this is one of the best uses I've seen on the Neo Geo, and of course the game is called Project Neon after all. You definitely weren't expecting going in thinking about drab colors. But the boss here, even the first round boss, is definitely a ton of challenge, and I love that. I want a game that really tests me and makes me learn everything that's going on, and because there aren't a ton of quote-unquote bullet hell shmups on the Neo Geo, getting this genre is in of itself a fun time. And I love the fact that the soundtrack both fits the game and is great, but is also slightly subdued. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds. I'll be back with more Project Neon to show. I love the soundtrack. It's intense but also a little bit subdued, and I like the audio balance where both the sound effects of the actual projectiles as well as the music really balance out well so you can hear both. And that's definitely something that I always enjoy and appreciate when the audio balance is right. In this particular stage here, I absolutely love the graphics. These monoliths that are basically floating in mid-air, you're kind of wondering why they're doing that with these glyphs on the side. It kind of has both a rusty red as well as a pastel neon sort of pink going on at the same time, and you mix them together with the greens and the blues in the scene, and it looks spectacular. But do be aware, you can play this game as a Yoko game as well. By default, if you pop the cartridge in, you're going to get a Yoko or horizontal aspect ratio, which is not exactly how the game was intended to be played, but I love that Full Set made this capability. You'll see all of the text there is going to rotate so you can actually understand it better. But depending on what copy you get, you can change this up, and I definitely recommend you going into a Tate mode. On my MVS, I just pop over into the soft tip settings for Project Neon, and from here you can adjust some options as well as the display from Yoko to Tate or from horizontal to vertical. And that is a really nice touch that basically keeps compatibility with almost every system and every single television out there. But trust me, you're missing out if you don't either rotate your TV or use some sort of scaler like I did to get the image correct. As we move on to the next boss here, the bosses are huge, their sprites are massive, and I do love the patterns. They're basically mix of organic patterns as well as the geometric patterns, and every single pattern has an escape route for it. There's never a pattern in the game where you feel like you're completely trapped unless you put yourself in the wrong spot. And while it definitely does take some learning curve to understand each and every pattern and boss and try to get better at them, even on my second playthrough, which you're seeing here, outside of using that continue, I'm starting to understand what Project Neon is asking of me more, and that really is why I love games like Bullet Hell Shmups. Each and every play session is its own learning experience, its own training exercise. You get to sit down and try to figure out exactly where you need to move on screen and how to stay safe, because through these patterns here, I got a little bit better of a read on it until that homing missile came and got me, and now I know on my third successive playthrough, I need to worry about those, and I can't just kind of hang back in the bottom of the screen, because for the most part, you usually just want to stay down towards the bottom. It gives you more time to react. And now as we get into the third stage, you're going to see some projectiles as well that are going to shoot suicide bullets out after you've destroyed them. So maybe you want to actually leave a couple enemies on screen and try to let them kind of hang out or just destroy them when the screen is emptier so you have more room to navigate around, because those suicide bullets definitely are going to test your abilities. It is one of those things that's an added layer of complexity and difficulty in all the best ways possible. And I would say the difficulty curve in Project Neon is very well set up as well. When you start the game on stage 1, it's going to test you but not be too brutal, but by the time you get to stage 3, 4, 5, and beyond, it really is going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at you to give you that challenge, and I do appreciate that, as well as the weapons power-up system, having the 3 different options, main, beam, and wide. But one more soundtrack sample, because it is one of my favorite parts about Project Neon. 30 seconds and I'll come back and show you a little bit more gameplay, as well as a massive robot frog that you need to destroy. But enjoy! I mean, you have an awesome techno-style soundtrack bumping in the background while you have a gigantic robotic owl shooting projectiles at you on screen. That is the type of stuff that 100% just does it for me, and I love some of the bosses in this game just being these massive owls. And you see here that the talons come out, and you have to worry about those as well. Every single boss is going to have its own mechanic, and learning those mechanics and trying to beat them without taking a hit really is the fun of Project Neon in any single bullet hell shmup. And I totally get it. This genre definitely isn't for everyone. Every time I do a video on it, the views are usually like 70% or less compared to a normal video, because it is definitely a smaller fan base for a bullet hell shmup. But that's why it's so great. We get stuff like this on Neo Geo in 2025, even 35 years after the hardware was put on the market for the first time. Fans out there are still making games for Neo Geo, and it is still an awesome platform. I will leave a link in the description below to Full Set's website, and definitely thanks to him for sending me a review copy just to check out. I gotta send it back to Australia soon. Maybe I'll put a spider from North America in the box so they get something new over there. But all spider jokes aside, frogs eat spiders, that's why I made it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.